So you would say about your previous comments that these people haven't done anything wrong. You disagree with that now. You acknowledge that violating the law, presenting false clearances at airports, fraud, illegal immigration, that those are in fact crimes.
Senator, number one, as former counsel to those individuals, it would be inappropriate for me to make the type of statement that you are requesting.
No, I'm requesting that you clarify your view, which you made to a newspaper. You didn't make it in court. You made it to a newspaper. And I'm asking you to clarify whether you think that these people haven't done anything wrong, and in particular, the crimes that they were accused of. Are those things crimes or not? Are they serious or not?
Judge Sykes, do you think America is mostly good or mostly bad?
Senator Kennedy, I think America is mostly good.
Thank you. How about you, Counselor Rochon?
I agree. I think it's mostly good.
Good. How about you, Judge?
Mostly good, Senator.
Okay, thank you. I'll start back here again. Judge Sykes, tell me about, tell me what the Daubert, some say Daubert, some say Daubert. I'm from Louisiana, so sometimes we say Daubert. Tell me what the Daubert or Daubert standard is.
Senator Kennedy, in my 8 years of practice as a Superior Court judge and presiding in the state of California, I have not had occasion to hear that the Daubert. So I can assure you, though, that I have had occasion where in a civil matter, I may not have known something, and I do the research necessary to discover and to research whatever it is that I need to do to make myself familiar with that. So I can assure you that in this case, I would do the same.
So you'll look it up?
Yes, Senator, I would do whatever it takes to make myself familiar with that and be prepared to go forward.
All right, can you tell me, as a federal judge, give me an instance where you will apply federal procedural law but state substantive law?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. In regards to an instance, I cannot think of an instance off the top of my head, but I am familiar with the Erie Doctrine, which guides that process. Okay. And the Erie Doctrine does require that.
What's it say? Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. The Erie Doctrine does require that I would follow federal procedural law and state substantive law.
Okay. You're nominated for Judge Southern District of New York?
No, Senator. I'm nominated for the Central District of California.
Oh, okay. I apologize. Let me ask Counselor Rochon. Tell me what a putative class action is.
Thank you, Senator. In my 25 years of experience, I have been fortunate enough to work on some class action cases, including one regarding commodities manipulation. And in that case, I don't believe there was a putative class action.
Yeah, but just tell me what is one? What's a putative class action?
I would have to research it a little bit more, but I think it would, I would look at the case law regarding putative class actions, which I believe may differ by circuit, so I would look to the Second Circuit for exactly how they would interpret a putative class action.
Okay. Well, do you know the difference between a putative class action and a certified class action?
Thank you, Senator. A certified class action is where the court has certified that the elements of a class have been established. So numerosity and other elements have been established, and the court has certified that class action. You're reminding me that a putative class action is prior to that certification process.
It's a proposed class action.
Precisely. Thank you, Senator.
Okay. Is it Judge Kato or Kato?
Judge Kato.
Kato.
Thank you.
Judge. You're going to be on Southern District in New York, if confirmed. Is that right?
Central District of California.
Central District. I thought there were two of you that were going to be on the Southern District in New York. No? Okay. All right. If can you tell me what the Fourth Amendment is and the rule of search and seizure and what the exceptions are?
Thank you for that question, Senator. The Fourth Amendment prohibits search or seizure without a warrant.
Uh-huh. And the exceptions to it?
The exceptions are quite numerous, so I certainly wouldn't be
Just
able
give me
to
a
give
couple.
border search, exigent circumstances. Off the top of my head, I can't give you the full list, but there are quite a few.
Okay. Suppose California said, look, we appreciate the guidance of the U.S. Supreme Court on the warrant requirement and the exceptions, but we're not going to follow the exceptions here in California. If you want to arrest somebody, you better have a warrant. Can California do that?
Senator, it would be contrary to the Code of Canon, specifically Code of Conduct, specifically Canon 3, for me to give an opinion on a hypothetical like that.
Come on, Judge. Don't dodge my question. This is really basic constitutional law. Can California decide it's not going to follow the exceptions to the warrant requirement?
Certainly, Senator, if California decided to do that, I would imagine it would be an issue that would be litigated.
I would imagine too, but who's going to win if they litigate it?
Well, Senator, the first issue would be that pursuant to the Pullman abstention doctrine, that would be the type of issue that a federal court would defer to the state to allow the state to decide in the first instance whether or not it could perhaps be resolved.
Suppose the state did it. This is what I'm getting to. Suppose that California said, we appreciate it, Supreme Court. I'm way over. I'm sorry. You need to look that up. Okay, it's pretty basic.
Ms. Kato, let me start with you, if I could. Judge Kato, you were quoted in a 2002 LA Weekly article, and I've got it here, about an effort by federal law enforcement officials right after 9/11 to prosecute individuals who had fraudulently obtained security clearances at airports. The article says that at the time, 563 people had been arrested in this particular government prosecution effort. Many of them were illegal immigrants, and they'd been charged with a number of crimes, including false presentation of a Social Security number, false use of Social Security cards, falsely claiming to be a U.S. citizen. You said in the article, this is why you appeared in it, something that I find peculiar, and I want to give you a chance to explain it. You say these are people who haven't done anything wrong. And then you go on to say that they are people who, in the government's mind, are just throwaways. So we're in the midst of, it's no secret, we're in the midst of a very significant crime wave in this country, assaults, homicides, you name it. Unfortunately, we've seen it in my home state of Missouri. So I'm really concerned about crime. And I'm concerned about what this administration is and is not doing to combat crime. The answer is they're not doing really anything of any import. And obviously, I'm concerned about what you would do on the bench in this regard. So let me just ask you, do you still think that people who have committed crimes, like the 563 folks here, references this article, do you still think that that's doing nothing wrong? Help me understand what you meant by that.
Thank you, Senator Hawley. You're correct. I was involved in that case, I think, over 20 years ago when I was appointed to represent individuals when I was a deputy federal public defender. In that role, my role was to do what I did for all of my clients, which was to put aside any personal opinions I might have about what they were accused of, to zealously advocate on their behalf, and to ensure that their Sixth Amendment rights were fulfilled. And that was what I was doing. In terms of the case itself, I do want to point out that in the Central District of California, the number of cases involved in that operation was somewhere around 100, a little bit over 100, maybe 107. And as a result of the advocacy from the Public Defender's Office, as well as other community organizations, we were able to convince the U.S. Attorney's Office to offer misdemeanor dispositions for the majority of those cases, dismissals in some of the cases. And so while I'm in no way, minimizing the seriousness of it, I do believe that as a result of zealous advocacy, the U.S. Attorney's Office agreed that the charges that were originally brought as all felonies, that justice required that either be reduced or dismissed in some cases.
Yeah, what concerns me is the comment that these people haven't done anything wrong, where we're talking about 563 individuals who had fraudulently obtained security clearances right after the worst terrorist attack in this nation's history. Let me ask you something else. 18 U.S.C. 1325 makes it a crime to enter this country illegally, right? I think that's a matter of fact.
It does.
And it's a crime to cross the southern border if you don't go through a port of entry, correct?
Yes, Senator.
And it's a felony if you do it more than once, correct?
If you've been prosecuted previously.
So you said about hundreds of people who'd entered the country illegally that they hadn't done anything wrong. Do you have any idea what percentage of your cases, if you're confirmed, would involve offenses like immigration and fraud?
I do not, Senator.
It's 38%. The U.S. Sentencing Commission, and I have the numbers here before me for the Central District, it's 38% of your criminal docket would be offenses like immigration and fraud. And I'm worried, frankly, given your statements and record on this issue, that something that's going to make up a huge portion of your docket is an issue on which you have said that you've expressed concern about whether these things are really crimes, whether they really should be prosecuted, and you just amply described your efforts to make sure that folks were not prosecuted. Is there anything you can say to convince us that you'd be able to do your job here in such a large portion of your docket in the midst of one of the worst crime waves in this country's history?
Thank you, Senator Hawley. Again, the statements and the advocacy that I engaged in were when I was serving in my role as a deputy federal public defender.
Have you changed your view since then? Is that what the implication?
My role has changed. For the past 7.5 years, I've served as a sitting United States magistrate judge, and my record demonstrates that I was able to put aside my advocacy role, and now my role is solely one where my duty of loyalty is to the law and the law alone.
So you would say about your previous comments that these people haven't done anything wrong, you disagree with that now. You acknowledge that violating the law, presenting false clearances at airports, fraud, illegal immigration, that those are in fact crimes.
Senator, number one, as former counsel to those individuals, it would be inappropriate for me to make the type of statement that you are requesting.
No, I'm requesting that you clarify your view, which you made to a newspaper. You didn't make it in court. You made it to a newspaper. And I'm asking you to clarify whether you think that these people haven't done anything wrong, and in particular, the crimes that they were accused of. Are those things crimes or not? Are they serious or not? And you suggested to me now, you've said several times, well, that was in a past role, which suggests that you think that your views have changed. I'm just trying to understand where you're actually coming down on this.
Senator, as I've stated, those statements were made in the course of my advocacy work. I currently sit as a United States magistrate judge where I'm no longer an advocate. Those are very different roles, and I understand that. And I've performed my role as a sitting United States magistrate judge for the past 7.5 years.
One last question, Mr. Chairman. In Judge Kato, you were a member of you were a member of the California Attorneys for Criminal Justice, which describes itself as an advocate for an end to the death penalty. Do you agree with the Supreme Court's ruling that the death penalty is constitutional and always has been constitutional?
Senator Hawley, I'm aware and I'm bound by the Supreme Court decision wherein the death penalty has not been ruled unconstitutional.
So that's a yes.
I agree with the Supreme Court, absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.